Regal Movie Masters. Unlimited.
This is the Regal Movie Masters Unlimited podcast, where we indiscriminately watch every goddamn movie that comes out at the local theaters. Your movie masters this week: Artistine.
Hi.
Brent.
Hello.
Dylan.
What's up?
And I'm Colin. We got 4 movies on the docket for you. All right, you ready for this? We're talking gamers.
Rise?
No.
Sit?
In your chair, which is a car. It's gonna race. It's Gran Turismo, baby.
Oh.
We got Golda, Retribution, and the Beasts. As always, everything that we talk about will be heavily spoilered, so this is your warning before you get deeper into this. And I'd also like to remind everyone that we do have an email that you can contact us if you take umbrage with one of our hot takes, have any suggestions, questions, anything of that nature. The email is moviemasters760@gmail.com. That's moviemasters, plural, 760@gmail.com. Vroom, vroom. You sim racers, you're driving me crazy. First up, we got Gran Turismo. It's the movie adaptation of the year that everyone's talking about. I think the only video game ever to be turned into a movie. It's Gran Turismo.
Put some respect. Gran Turismo, based on a true story, man.
Yeah,
it's true.
It's not a movie of a video game.
Yeah.
It's a movie about
a world, about an event
yes,
involving a video game that does exist.
not an adaptation.
No,
of a
so
video
Gran
game.
Turismo exists in the world. It's a historical documentary.
It is a documentary.
Brought to you by PlayStation Studios,
and
Sony products.
Puma racing gear.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of Puma in this one. This is
Shout out DHL.
This is directed by Neil Blomkamp. He did District 9, Elysium, Chappie. And word is he's had like a rough go of it ever since. I guess from what I hear, he hasn't had much that's been in the public light. So this is a comeback. Is written by Jason Hall, who did Creed 3, which does kind of
Makes
scam.
so much sense.
And Zach Balin, who did the Watchmen movie adaptation and the Superfly reboot. This movie is it is based in real life. This is a retelling of a story that really happened, in which the Sony PlayStation company, they loved this game. They had Gran Turismo. It's a popular game, and they decided what they're going to do is they're going to have a tournament of champions. Whoever can do the best at Gran Turismo, they're like, hey, you can drive in this game. Maybe you can drive in real life. So the tagline of this movie, where it says Gran Turismo, based on a true story, tagline from gamer to racer, it's a real thing. It follows the story of Jann Mardenborough, who was played by Archie Madekwe. And he's was a real person. He was coached by Jack Salter, played by David Harbour, a.k.a. the motherfucker who is doing the goddamn most. And Danny Moore, who is the coach of like the whole team, played by Orlando Bloom. So Orlando Bloom's character, he's like sort of a middleman. He's not total CEO guy, but he's like, hey, this is going to be great press. We're going to get these guys press.
Because it's for Nissan.
Yes, who is also brought to you by this film.
Yeah.
And then the David Harbour's character, the coach guy, he's like, no, you fucking don't understand how dangerous it is to race. You can't take these friggin' teenagers who are playing video games and put them out here. It's not a good look. We're going to do this. It's going to be, we're going to make it safe. I want these kids to survive. His backstory is that he got in a crash at Le Mans and killed some people.
One guy.
Okay. And so he's like, listen, I know how messed up it is out there on the track. And the kids obviously are just like, dude, I don't know. Let me race a car. I'll race a car. I don't give a shit. And so, they get this camp of kids together, like the final tournament winners of the game, the best Gran Turismo players in the world to compete. And this one kid wins, and then he's got to get a racing license. Apparently, to get a racing license, you need to finish in 4th place or higher at one point in these like, qualifying races. And, so you see, obviously, him it's this montage after montage. There's a lot of montaging going on. They're all trying to get in shape to be a better racer. And in one of the races, the kid, and this did happen in real life, he like runs off the course, or his car flips and he goes off course and he fucking kills a guy. Just like the coach experienced himself. So now, before he goes on to race at Le Mans, he has to, shake off the stress of having blood on his hands. David Harbour tells him, that guy died because racing is dangerous. That's not on you. You're fine. That was a freak accident that happened. You do a lot of those kind of speeches at him, right?
Yeah. To be fair, I don't know how it really went down, but the guy that got killed was like sitting on the side of the road, apparently.
Yeah, they're like
He's like
picnicking.
in a lawn chair.
Yeah. At the same time, you don't want to get hit by a race car. Don't fucking sit next to the race car track.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know. Anyways, so now he's got to race 24 hours at Le Mans, and they're funny because they're like, we got to get they're called sim racers. There's this like backlash against them. It's an underdog story in the sense that all the video game players are like, this is a great depiction of the persecution that my people face, my people being gamers, face on a daily basis. And you go and you try to get some respect on the racetrack, and like these preps and these jocks, they persecute you. They pick on you. They say, go home, you gamer.
It's not like on the joystick.
Yeah, that's so different, you and I. Or wait, very different, you and I. You're a sim racer. I don't like it. That's why you killed that guy.
You can't just come in here racing because you just play a game. And they're like, it's not a game. It's a simulator.
Yeah. Put fucking respect on my goddamn name. So, yeah, you could feel the persecution that I feel on a daily basis. This is the gamer rise anthem for sure. He has to race under these conditions. It's a stressful situation. And will he pull it together? I guess you'll have to watch this film and find out.
Or Google it.
Yeah, or just look it up
because it happened.
Yeah. So this is a very silly film. I felt it legitimately was like better than it needed to be.
Yeah.
In terms of like, I don't know how serious it took the source material. The fact that it's not a gaming adaptation. It's not like you're playing a character from the game. This is just a story that happened. So I guess it's more of a like sports biography.
Yeah.
But like punched up to silly extents,
Well, because Blomkamp has that sci-fi bit to
Okay.
him, so you get to have kind of an AR view of when he's looking at the track while he's actually racing, and he's like seeing the video game.
Oh yeah, that was you like that part, right?
Yeah, I liked all those like POV shots.
Visually, what do you see on screen?
So when he gets really into it, especially when he's playing the video games,
Yeah.
you'll imagine like the 3D model of the car around him.
And like the pieces
Yeah,
put together
pieced
around
together.
him, like it's
The first time that happened, you guys weren't there sadly, but like when the first time that happened, I was like trying so hard not to laugh really loud. So I was like, what is happening?
yeah,
It looks like an exploded diagram, but then it like contracts to the fake car around him.
Yeah, and then sometimes when he's driving in real life, you'll see the line. In Gran Turismo, they show you a line that you should take. But in his vision, there's a line, then his line, and then like little what's it called? Widgets, like on the side, like on the corners, like the mile per hour.
Oh yeah, he gets into gamer vision, like when Predator's hunting people, except he's not a predator; he's a gamer.
Yeah, and he's driving a real car. And I was like, this is insane, man. I love this movie.
And like sometimes when he's on the track, it'll be like third place, hovering above the.
You know what?
cars.
I like that though.
Yeah.
Because like if you just showed me that, I'd be like, I don't know which car I'm looking at. But at least they kind of give you a pause, like this one's him.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, fair enough. Thank you.
The gold car that belongs to the rich guy.
Yeah, that's
He's
not
a
the guy
dickhead.
that. Yeah,
You don't want him to win.
that guy sucks.
Yeah, he's gonna like crash into this guy all the time. Which way the?
Yeah, he is a death wish himself.
Suicidal,
apparently.
just trying to kill him and the kid.
Yeah, he can't. He's gatekeeping, bro. I'm telling you, we face a lot of problems out there in the world, us gamers, and this is why I appreciate the movie. It finally shows the gatekeeping that goes on in the world. You're trying to just be a world famous racer.
Yeah, at the end they tell you a little bit more about the actual guy. It says that he's actually a racer. I don't know that he's world famous, but he did do the stunts for his fake self in the movie, which is really cool.
Yeah, he knows how to race.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Overall, like I just felt it to be kind of watchable. I guess the Creed 3 comparison is kind of apt because it's like, yeah, how do you make someone who knows nothing about this sport kind of care about this sport? I don't know. I appreciated it. And I have seen some racing movies before, and more serious ones. I think Ford versus Ferrari I saw, and it's sort of just like, all right, yeah, look at them go. Good for them.
What else?
They're
Cannonball Run?
Yeah. Oh, that was good. That's just that's not real racing. It's not real racing. It's not real racing. It's not really how it is. Even sim racers is more of a real racing than that.
I really like that.
But yeah, so as someone who could not pay attention to cars going around a track a bunch, I was like, oh no, he got knocked out. Is he going to qualify in 4th place? Oh my God, he did. Let's go.
It's going to be a short movie if he does.
That'd be great. Just never happens. Botches it.
I honestly could have believed it. I honestly didn't know where it was going because he kept fucking crashing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, he could just lose. This is a movie about a guy that loses and then like has to train again.
Yeah, it's like how close to the real thing are we going to get?
Yeah, because I don't know anything about that guy.
Yeah.
I could have straight up believed that they took him out every single time in the racing and that he just like gave up on his dream. Then his dad comes out from Never Backs Down. He's like, hey, kid, never back down. And then the kid trains to become a race car driver. And the movie's about never give up on your dreams.
Dad played by
Jaimin
a
Hansu.
legend. Yeah.
What did we just see him in? Oh, we didn't just see him. It was Fast 9, right?
Okay. More car movies.
Yeah. What else? What's the Bobby?
By the way, Fast 9 is not real racing. That's not. It's not really like that.
What's the Bobby something movie? Legend of Ballad of
Talladega
Legend
Nights.
of-
There we go.
Legend of
Yeah.
Ricky Bobby.
Yes.
He's in that?
No.
Oh,
She's just naming
bringing
any
up
racing
ra-
movies you
okay.
can think of.
I was like, wait a minute. He's not in that fucking movie, is he? I don't remember that.
That's yeah. That is the extent of racing stuff I know.
Yeah. What did we play recently? RC Pro not Super RC Pro
Oh yeah. RC. Well,
Maybe
one of the RC
regular
Pro. One of the
RC
RC
Pro-Am.
Pro-Am games. Yeah, I got some experience with that. Don't even get me started on good racing games. Road Rash, Galaxy 5000 for NES. I could go on. I wish there was a movie adaptation of that.
Of Road Rash?
Yes, actually,
be
now that you
sick.
mention it,
Yeah.
just motorcycles clubbing people to death.
Running away from cops, beating him.
Brent, you saw this on $4 movie night?
I fucked up. I fucked up big time.
I've totally forgot that was coming.
Yeah, so I arrived at the theater at my normal time, which is still plenty of time to get in before the movie starts, and the parking lot was full. And I was like, what movie came out that would inspire this?
On a Sunday.
And I was about to text you and ask you that, but then instead I immediately changed my text to, God damn it, I came here on $4 movie night.
We went on like last year, didn't we go to one of those?
Yeah, the invited or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, we saw the
invitation.
invitation. It is.
Yeah.
It's complete chaos.
Yeah.
Right?
So, needless to say, this is the first time since then where when I went to the seat map and I selected my seat, it said you cannot select a seat in between other
Right.
parties. You need to sit next to somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the theater was packed. I was surrounded by people. There was a lot of senior citizens.
Really?
Yeah. Everybody's clapping throughout
Hell
the entire
yeah.
thing. At the end of the movie, there was a standing ovation.
Yes.
Like a legit standing ovation. I don't know if it's because there's gamers in the audience or if it was just that gripping, but yeah, it was raucous. It was chaotic. The thing is, like, the movie itself is serviceable. You know, it's like I would say it's like Top Gun-ified or Rocky-fied
Yeah.
for mass audience, which I appreciated. I really like the shots, you know, of the actual racing. I thought they were inventive. I thought it was creative. I did like the choice to work in the game and have, you know, what place you're in and
Right.
what path you're taking. I thought that was cool. I think I would have enjoyed it more on not $4 movie night,
Yeah,
for sure.
I don't know. Oddly enough, when we watched it, where there was like 8 people in the theater,
I'm so jealous.
there was still clapping at the end of the
there was
movie.
still
Really?
applause.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I know who started the clap, but it's these 2 people that were like maybe 5 rows down. Did you see them when they first kissed in the movie? They like put their hands up and cheer.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And those kids
They were invested in
Yeah.
the story.
put their hands up.
I did get a good laugh though, like because they were clapping so much that when he got in a wreck and got hospitalized, I started clapping and a few people laughed. It was pretty sick. So yeah, I got my little dumb asshole moment in. Yeah, it was. I'm gonna pay attention next year and not go on $4 movie night.
I mean, I feel like this is a good like crowd pleaser, like a movie for the masses. I could easily see this playing on cable TV midday, and someone, just a regular old person just catching it and all right, I'm in.
Great idea to put David Harbour in it too. I love that guy.
He's fucking he was working
his ass
way
off.
more than no one told him it was a video game race. No one told him the tagline was from gamer to racer.
Yeah. It's also the second movie this weekend that we saw where the headphones were those orange Sony joints. I forget what the other one was.
Are they coming back, the little foam joints? I hate those
Probably
things.
are now, yeah.
They suck.
They're bad. Speaking of music, people were going crazy for the Enya and the Kenny G bits. They were like falling out of their seats laughing. It was such an overreaction.
Kind of, I don't know. I guess it was kind of decent syncs in terms of like,
you had the
story.
Stooges and Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath repeating throughout.
Yeah, so the coach guy, all he likes is Sabbath, and he talks about Sabbath, which is kind of weird. Early Black Sabbath is what I listened to. I'm the coach guy.
8 songs.
Yeah, we know because you keep playing it over and over again. Anyways, coach guy is like all, boomer rocked out, whereas the younger gen, you expect him to be into like, some high energy techno music or something, but he's just playing like Enya and Kenny G and like trying to kind of be calm, which is a fun touch. And yeah, I can easily see that getting some guffaws from the audience, getting some chuckles in. It's funny.
No, I'm talking about like even like the 6th time that he does it, they're still falling out of their seats. They're just losing it in the movie theater.
Man, I wish the director of this film could like see this, because I feel like that's what he would want. Like,
100%.
Anyone involved in the movie, I just wanted to be in the back wearing like a raincoat.
It was a successful endeavor on Neil Blomkamp or whatever his last name is part. Yeah, like he nailed it. You know?
I just wanted, like when the Ninja Turtles are in disguise and they got the trench coat and hat on, I want like the filmmakers just be like, see, look, it worked. $4 movie night, baby. I'm trying to think of other movies that are playing right now, like Blue Beetle. Barbie still has so many fucking showtimes. That's nuts.
The lobby looked like the end of the world.
Oh yeah,
the concessions, like, because I had like, for some reason it gave me like a free small drink on the app. So I was like, oh, I'll cash this in tonight. As soon as I walked up, I was like, no way.
I don't have 45 minutes to wait in this line.
Exactly.
Man, I'm gonna get some eyeballs on Mutant Mayhem. I think that would be a good crowd pleaser movie. I perish the thought of some poor souls wandering into Meg 2 right now at $4 a pop.
To a point you made probably a year ago. Why don't they do this more often?
I know. This Rocket.
I mean, this slaughtered. It was like I said, like I parked on the very edge of the parking lot toward the back, and that was the only spot that was available.
Jeez. Yeah, I can't stress enough how, like, I don't know what it is. I just keep hearing about just how bad movies are doing now. I think because movies are doing really bad right now. Like, I mean, I'm just going off of what I hear people say, so I'm not a source on this one. But I heard something like Disney losing $1 billion at the box office this year if you add up everything, and it's, I don't know. I got the sense that it's kind of interesting to be going to the theater as much as we do, because it's, I was watching this YouTube video and he's like, there was 5 blockbusters that came out in March. They really expect people to go to the theater 5 times? Who watched, whatever movie, the who's really going to the theater to see Blue Beetle? Like, I don't know Blue Beetle. Yeah. Saw it last week. But it's pitched as this absurd notion because it is like $15 plus everything else.
Because if you were trying to take your family during the normal parts of the year, if you're doing $15 a head plus concessions, I mean, that's a significant chunk. It doesn't make economic sense when you compare to what else you could be spending it on.
And we see kids in theaters. They're not, I mean, I'm sure they're having fun to some extent, but it's not like they're getting an individual $15 worth out of the movie. So,
but 4, I mean, you're going to draw out everybody. And there was a different, obviously because of just that mass of people, there was just a different energy where it felt like an event. It's
nice when people are excited about movies, even like the Barbenheimer thing, which I didn't care too much about like the hype surrounding it, but like it was just great to see people giving a shit.
It's oddly, I think I liked that moment better just because everybody was like happy, and I didn't fear violence.
Right.
So tonight I feared violence because it was just like, it was unruly in there.
Yeah. I mean, that's just a volume thing. And those were also like about the movies themselves, not because it was, a cheap night out, but yeah, the double-edged sword of the $4 movie night. This does seem like the right movie to see. I would be really bummed if it was like, of the movie we're going to talk about later, Golda. Like if you watch some like serious
But if Golda gets a
adult
bump,
film,
great. You
Right.
know? Like if there was a way to do $4 or schedule it so that there are movies like Jules or whatever that
Yeah.
are like there as an option, so people that wouldn't normally see it do get to see it, then that's definitely another positive of dropping the price for a night here and there.
yeah,
They
but
should do it at the end of the year when they re-release stuff for Oscars.
Right.
That's smart. Yeah.
I mean, again, I'm a believer in the price saver theory. You know, just like you got cutout records or cheaper priced anything really. Like, why not?
Yeah, especially since like streaming, you've seen those numbers too. That nobody's profiting there. So before you put it on the streamers, give it a $4 run, give it a $1 run. Well, not anymore.
Right?
$2 run maybe. You know?
Yeah, and I don't know why that would not behoove the theaters to do that, because it's like, okay, yeah, Indiana Jones is $15, but you got 3 people watching it versus, you know, Last Voyage of Demeter at $4. Now you have more
Yeah,
people
you got a ton of
watching it,
people
and that's
watching it.
more hungry mouths chomping down on the delightful theater snacks. But yeah, I definitely convinced that the failing movie system has a lot more to do with just a damn price of a ticket.
Absolutely. Especially because for the price of a ticket, you can get a monthly subscription to like 3 streaming services and have hundreds of movies.
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes sense.
I kind of think of the Regal Unlimited, not to shill here. I kind of think of that as a streaming service in
I do
itself.
too. Yeah, that's how I look at it every month.
God, that's weird to say, but probably it is. If you're calling it a streaming service, I think I probably watch more movies on Regal Unlimited at the theater than I do on any individual service. And as strange as it is to say, I think I enjoy it more. Like if I had to choose between unlimited versus a streaming service,
I think I'd still stick with what's now called Max.
Yeah. I think if I had to, go more commando, I think it would just be I'd go use the free apps, Canopy, Tubi,
I love
etc.
Tubi, yeah.
Just go that and the unlimited. I don't think I would give up my unlimited for any of the big ones, Netflix, Max, etc. Anyways, Gran Turismo,
Based on a true story.
based on a true story, is are we kicking this one into high gear, or are we pumping the brakes? I'm gonna kick this into high gear. I don't know how to put it other than it's way better than it needs to be. Like they took it way seriously, and it's crowd pleasing, serviceable. It's a good word for it. Serviceable sports movies. It does its job. It's kind of stealthy in how it does it, kind of like Trojan horsing it inside of like a funny gamer movie, and then all of a sudden you're really caught up in the who's gonna get the pedestal, and champagne is for the pedestal only, and all that. You get really sucked into the story of it all. And as someone who has a polar opposite interest in racing, if you can catch my interest and hold it for over, this is one of those like 2 hours and change, right?
2 hours, 7 minutes, yeah.
Come on, man, that's not easy to pull off to make it still feel exciting. And I was excited the whole time, so I'm gonna give this one a high gear. No beef. Gran Turismo : based on a true story. Now, when the Forza comes out, it's gonna be a banger.
Yeah, no brakes, power slide all the way. This was a good movie. It went fast. Even though it was 2 hours long, I was really pleased. I don't know how else to describe the movie. It's like very clean.
Yes.
It goes really
I know
smoothly.
exactly
It
what
looks
you mean.
really
Yeah.
good. It's like fun to watch. And, there are video games that are just fun to watch other people play for some reason. And race car games are kind of like that. You can just watch. And this felt like just watching somebody play a race car game, which was kind of fun. I have no complaints about it, really. Everybody did a good job acting. David Harbour was amazing. I've never seen the kid, Jann, act before, but he was good in it too. Even Orlando Bloom playing an annoying guy. Did an annoying guy very well.
I'll go high gear as well. Probably, third place on the podium is probably about right. This is definitely propped up heavily by David Harbour's performance and how legitimately awesome the racing scenes are. This is the gamification of movies, which
right?
I liked. I thought that was good for this, like you said, because it made it so that even though it's a considerably long run time, still really enjoyable and engaging throughout because it looks like a game during crucial parts. And as much as I would love to shit talk that, I thought it was awesome.
I'm gonna kick it into high gear. Movie's good. Everyone did great. The special effects, amazing. The stunts, awesome. That's it. That's all I gotta say.
Golda is directed by Guy Nativ. He did a movie called Skin in 2018 and written by Nicholas Martin. I hadn't seen his stuff before. A lot of TV stuff, but he did Florence Foster Jenkins, the movie. I also haven't seen, but he wrote this one. The star of the show in a big bad way is Helen Mirren. She plays the titular Golda Meir. She was the prime minister of Israel, and this movie isn't, despite the name, so much like an overview of her life as it is her place during the Yom Kippur War in the early 70s. You're embroiled in global politics here, so sit down, folks. You got Sadat from Egypt, right?
Yeah.
And he's working with the Russian folks, and they're trying to close in on Israel. It's kind of early on in their statehood, so they were under a lot of pressure from a lot of places over there. And I don't know, I guess the prime minister, who is not the military strategist by any means, but like her place during all of this engagement in war and them defending their borders and whatnot from these encroaching factions. And the acting is, I think, front and center here, right? Like, you're lost in this role completely, I feel. And I don't know, I guess the weight of war and waging war and defending yourself in war as it plays on a country's leader, which in a lot of ways would be like, wah, like when there are like real human beings on the front lines dying, it kind of feels like it's an unsympathetic role, right? Like the person on top of the hill who doesn't actually have to face combat. So it's a pretty impressive feat to make you sympathize and care for this character. I think you have to do a lot of work in, I don't know, showing the effect of like the devastation on this character, and they do a good job at that. It shows how how heavy the burden is being the head of a country engaged in this. You know, you got 12 different military leaders, all with different degrees of experience, being like, we got to do this, no, we got to do that, and you're kind of the person that needs to decide. Heavy is the head that wears the crown, as they say. And she's talking to old Henry Kissinger, played by Liev Schreiber, trying to like kind of get some backup, and that was just a geopolitical turmoil of the time. She's like, hey, we're getting attacked by these guys. And I know you hate Russians, so we have some stuff to blow up the Russians? He goes, yeah, but the thing is, we're cool with the Egyptians, and they're cool with the Saudis, and we get our oil from the Saudis. So we can't be on the record as giving you this stuff. So we're going to give it to you, but you don't know anything about like that kind of engagement.
Intrigue.
Yeah. And so it's kind of an interesting segment of a person's life, I guess you could say. Yeah. It's sort of couched as like a flashback, right? Because you see her on trial and kind
Very
of
Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
12 Angry Men, Oppenheimer, yeah.
Yeah, you see her having a real long sex scene with Florence Pugh, and they flash back throughout the sex scene. Now she's on trial, like some sort of war tribunal, because this one kind of stratagem that they imposed like was horrifically awful. It was just like a bad call. It was good on paper, but it didn't work out well, and they ended up losing a lot of people. So there's this war tribunal to be like, hey, lady, what were you doing during that? And she kind of
They fell for a trap.
Yes. Yeah. And she's sort of breaking it all down. And so you're seeing the movie in flashback, but it's you can like still watch the story. You're not like constantly cutting between like inquisitions. Iron Man isn't like, what were you doing are you a communist, or any like that stuff. It doesn't get into her life story in any kind of significant way. It's just, here's her during this one like war, I guess. And the war lasted about a month or so. So like, here's the most fucking stressful, fucked up month in a poor old woman's life.
With lymphoma.
Yeah. Well, she's just
chain smoking the whole
crazy.
Yeah, smoking is a major character in this.
Yeah, I meant to do a joke that this movie was directed by a cigarette, but I forgot. Anyways,
did a cigarette right?
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting premise.
Yeah.
I kind of failed to connect with it in any kind of meaningful, emotional way. I think maybe the lack of humanizing of her, because it is so like war room strategies. We got to go here. No, we got to go there and all that. And, I guess it's hard not to compare it to Oppenheimer, right? They both have the same last name of the title character,
Sure.
historical biography. And like, whereas Oppenheimer's is like, you're losing your mind watching this thing. It's just like, it's all build up all the time. This is just like they're sitting in a room, they're smoking, and it's like, okay, we got a lot of battalions. We got to figure out what to do. They're going to attack. We're going to do this. We got to do that. And, you're not digging your nails into your chair, but the gravity of the situation is definitely conveyed.
A lot of that is because that's where cinematographer Jasper Wolf steps in and makes it vastly different than Oppenheimer. This is like for this year, that's probably my favorite cinematography. Like the way, like all the shots were really well done and like insanely creative to the point where I was becoming distracted from the story, watching how they were setting up frames.
Right.
And like, when she like lays down on the bed and blows out that smoke plume and that takes you right into war, and then it comes right back into her. There was just so many moments throughout where I was like riveted. I was like, this is awesome. Not the story, but like what I was actually seeing on the screen. I enjoyed that way more than I thought I would. This was one of the ones I was considering skipping until you texted me and said, all right, 950 Golda. I'm like, all right. And then I went in, open-minded somewhat. And like I just spent the whole movie just like marveling at the job behind the camera.
Yeah, I'd say the craft in general is very admirable, but I don't know. Again, there's just some distance where I couldn't connect with the movie, and I guess there's probably a lot of reasons.
A big reason for me was Liev Schreiber's portrayal of Kissinger. It felt like Tom Hanks as Colonel Parker, like where like the accent just wasn't good, and it became really distracting. That was the only tough part for me.
He wasn't in the movie that much. He's phone calls, a couple phone calls, a couple visits, pretty minimal. I've been spoiled by the Henry Killinger character from Venture Brothers, which has a very you're the hacky version of Killinger that you would do if you had to do an impression of Killinger. That Kissinger, that voice.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I see someone doing a toned down version of it, I'm like, oh, come on, give him a skull
There
mask.
you go.
Make him cartoony.
Yeah, make him like a cartoon. It did make me wish that we had an old lady president. I think that's like it's really hard to portray a leader sending people to war as like a sympathetic character. But when it's a kindly old lady who smokes and is funny and like, can take it on the chin, like they kind of play into the nurturing side and like the compassionate side.
It shows her actually leading a daily life too, like when she's not on the clock, so to speak. Like it shows her in a very normal kitchen, doing very normal tasks, having very normal interactions.
Yeah, show me a politician living modestly. Like fucking, we don't need opulence. And I'm talking about them having these strategy war rooms and stuff, it's like they are literally like in a room. Yeah, they're sitting around chain smoking.
Looks like they're playing
coffee.
a board game.
Yeah, and that's kind of what the movie feels like, a game of Risk or something like that. You can get a little bit lost in the jargon of it all. But yeah, from a craft perspective, it is all very impressive. And yeah, again, I can't stress enough. Even just if you can just watching the movie and not being like bored to tears, very impressive. Uphill battle you guys had to do making this movie.
Yeah, they did a good job of making her a sympathetic character. You see the stress that she's under all the time, and she really is prioritizing, what she needs to do for the country while still dealing with like stuff with her own health and feeling guilty about the boys that are dying over there. Helen Mirren does a great job. I mean, she's good at what she does, but I'd not seen her in anything like this before. She always kind of plays some version of herself,
like a brassy lady.
Yeah, so it was really interesting to see her having to portray somebody else. I guess it's still like a strong female, role, but really impressive. And I liked Golda also because you see her and she's smoking all the time, carries her purse all the time,
call.
just like her
Yeah.
own purse. And then, writes in her little notebook and stuff. And it's a really interesting way of telling this story because it's like, this is an historical drama. This is a political thriller, at the same time. And then it's very much a horror movie too.
Right.
And there's even like a long scene that is just her freaking out. And it looks like a horror movie.
Yeah, the dream sequence part.
Yeah. A lot of this feels like it's more like a horror movie than it is those other things, just because of the way that it's presented. And yeah, it looks amazing. The music was great. Do you remember the score and
It
stuff?
was really great.
Overall, the atmosphere of it was really engrossing, I guess. It was a movie where it's like, I don't know how this is going to end. I don't know how much of the story they're going to tell, but it didn't really seem like it was long. You're just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen next. I really like the scenes where she goes to the weird like bunker room and they get to hear all the chatter. Crazy.
Yeah, I know. And that's
And they played with the audio a lot. Yeah.
Dylan, we didn't talk about this movie. You saw it, right?
Yeah, I saw it. Just to echo, I guess, like I really like the cinematography of this film too. I'm not gonna lie, when I saw the title, I didn't realize it was about the person in the movie. I thought it was just a whole different thing.
A crazy word.
Yeah, that or just did not piece it together. Anyway, I also like, I don't know how true this part is, but I like the touch is that every time she went to go get a MRI scan, she has to walk through a morgue.
Yeah, and it's like piling up with bodies, presumably from this war that keeps going on.
Yeah, it's like, fuck. The first time you see, you're like, damn, that's morbid,
Right.
He has to go through this thing and sees like dead bodies, but then it's piling up, gets more and more people in there, and she has to just walk through that.
Yeah.
It's like, shit, man. I don't know. That's just a good touch. Again, I don't know how factual that is.
Yeah. I guess I try to just look at the movie as a movie instead of like getting into the historical
actual depictions.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it's just I know it's a real person, but let's just treat it like it's a character.
I try to do a mix of both.
You do some fact checking?
Sometimes. Not tonight, not for this movie.
Do some wiki.
I meant to check for Gran Turismo. Like, that guy's not real, right? This is based on a fake story.
A gamer friend of mine was telling me about it before I watched it, and that was the extent of my research. It was like
of Golda?
No, of
Gran Turismo.
Yes.
Oh man,
my gamer friend was telling me a lot about the Yom Kippur War and
if
a lot
he
of the
knew
hardships
about that, that'd be incredible.
Did you guys? Maybe I'm solo on this. I really felt more like I was watching like a prestige streaming miniseries.
Nope.
Something about this felt very, I don't know, like fancy television show that gets talked about a lot. Like, I don't know, I've never seen a Succession, but like this is kind of what I expected Succession to look like.
Succession at all. No,
some kind of
not even
far
close.
away from.
I don't know. What I would in my mind, what exists when people talk about it. I don't know.
This was way artier.
Those shows are all super artsy, though. I guess it just didn't. It felt more like that than, I don't know, a conventional movie. I guess so. That's a take that I walked away with. I have nothing to back this up, other than just like what my little gut told me while I was watching.
Well, I mean, those TV shows kind of had to take that from somewhere, though. So this movie might be like, it feels like those because those are trying to emulate something like that,
Right?
Because that's what makes them good TV.
Yeah,
is to seem very cinematic.
Right.
This felt very cinematic.
Yes.
So I think that's the vibe.
Yeah, even if you weren't hearing the audio, you could marvel at what you were watching because it was just so crafted so well.
I guess that's it. It felt like a TV show being cinematic.
Really?
Did something cinematic for me. Yeah, I mean, it just.
What would be pure cinema?
Again, this is not. There's no.
Yeah.
Well, pure cinema is like Scorsese or fucking Spielberg or something like that. Where I don't know. I have no like technical anything to back this up. It's just it felt like I was watching fancy TV more than I was watching movies. But like you're saying, it's not like fancy TV is completely divorced from cinema. But it was like, I was like, oh, this would be like a show that people would talk about nonstop for like 6 months and then you would never hear about it again.
Yeah, I can definitely see that because this level of cinema, let's just say, is applied to something that's such a weird subject matter to apply it to, that it would seem like a prestige TV miniseries or show. I'm thinking like West Wing, where people are like, West Wing is the best thing. It's like, politics? Really?
Did we see any marketing for this
Not
movie?
a goddamn
yeah.
iota.
I'd say, like, if it weren't for like our experiment, I wouldn't have been aware that this movie even existed. In fact, when I brought it up to some friends and said, "Hey, this is really good," they're like, "What are you talking about? I've never heard of that." I guess if they did do any marketing in America, you could say, "Hey, remember that gas crisis at the end of the '70s? Maybe your parents talked about it or whatever. This is what led to it." You know, that'd be a good way to kind of succinctly do your little elevator pitch about the movie.
I'm always confused when movies, like fancy big brain movies, come out, and like where do they go? Why they're not like profitable, right? Like no one expects us to like blow the doors open budget wise, and it's just understood that they're not, but they're still made, and like they can't be cheap. Like nothing about this looked cheap. You know, I like seeing things like this, but like. Who's it for? What's the audience? Where does this go on?
There are some movies that do get grants, you know, and that are historical in nature. I didn't watch the credits enough to see if it got a grant or was a grant recipient, but it's possible,
right?
You know?
Yeah, I don't want to dig too deep into.
Yeah,
but I think she was getting radiation treatment when she was going into that.
The morgue thing.
Yeah.
Well, I guess she wasn't getting in the morgue. She was going through the morgue.
Yeah, walking through the morgue.
Yeah. For the constant cigarettes that she was smoking nonstop.
Till the very end of her life.
So hard.
Just lying in the hospital bed.
Not just her.
Smoking with an oxygen mask.
Every dang person.
Any upright mammal was smoking in this movie.
Yeah, see, this is a shell game. Big tobacco. That's who's funding this movie.
They was so cool. They're laying out these maps on the table and they're using like their lighters and their packs of cigarettes to like hold it down so you get to see what kind of cigarettes they smoke.
Hey, that ain't cheap. You know, those guys, the tobacco guys, are having a hard time out here. People are vaping, and then the elderly people, especially, they stop smoking because their doctor is telling them they can't. So they're like, hey,
I thought you were going to say because they died.
Well, that happens later. But in the meantime, they could buy cigarettes. And how do you get them to buy them? You pitch them a movie. It shows how cool smoking is. God, I want a fucking cigarette right now so bad. Can we just all...
I don't know why, but...
So, Golda, Jesus, I can't think of it.
Yeah, how can you make a...
Are we signing a peace treaty, which is the good thing, or are we gonna fight this one? I'll sign the peace treaty with it. Again, I could probably do fine not watching it, but for a pretty dour subject matter, again, there's just enough craft behind the film to kind of make it something you could watch at the very least. So again, not an easy film, not nearly as easy as showing the challenge of a gamer going to a racer. So yeah, give him credit for that, and all the craft in it was nice. But I'm lying if I'd be like, dude, this was great. This changed my life. And it's just know what you're getting into when you go into it. It's some pretty big brain stuff, and I'm at a small brain, so. But I could tell when something's big brain at least.
Yes, sign the treaty, eat some cake. I like this movie. It looked really good. The craft was obviously excellent. The acting was fantastic. It's such a weird style to apply to this potentially dry of a subject, and also like sticky of a subject, you know? So that was just really interesting, and I didn't know what it was going to be about either until like right before we were going to watch it, and then I was totally surprised by the way that it was presented, and I was pretty engaged the whole time just by what you're looking at on screen again, and by the stress that you feel the entire time, and I like everybody's clothes and glasses. They have really cool glasses.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'll sign the peace treaty as well. Just as last year, we talked a lot about how Empire of Light and Roger Deakins was just a marvel to watch visually. This might be this year's entry. I mentioned Jasper Wolf was behind that. If you're into that, then this is a prime example of what we're capable of as a species, for sure. It's really awesome. If you want to know, like I mentioned earlier, like how we got into the crazy gas crisis domestically here in the US, this is also a good watch. I also went into it just dreading it just because I saw Kissinger mentioned, and I was like, no, I don't want to watch anything with Kissinger, but I ended up enjoying the whole thing. So yeah, highly recommended.
I'm signing the peace treaty. Just gonna say one thing. I think we all didn't know what this movie was because the description on the Regal app was almost a retelling of the Retribution.
Oh, is there like an error in the description?
Well, no, it's like, okay, so this is Golda. Golda is a ticking clock thriller set during the tense 19 days of Yom Kippur War. And then Retribution is... Liam Neeson stars in Retribution, an immersive ticking clock thriller that straps audience. It's like, oh, those are the same things. But I don't know. Sadly, I can't tell which one is more
Ticking?
ticking, yeah.
Oh, and also, if you were in the Regal app when these movies were running, both preview images are just the main characters on the phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
But they're both time clicking.
time is clicking.
Yes.
I mean,
Time is clicking.
listen, but thank you for setting me up for the segue to talk about our next fine film, Retribution. I could not make this up. The director's name is Nimrod Antal.
No.
It can't possibly be pronounced
Say
Nimrod.
the real names. Don't be an asshole.
He's got like a dash above the O, and he's of Hungarian descent.
Nimrod?
But it is Nimrod.
He has a name.
Like the what do you call it? Like the Green Day album. It is directed by that gentleman, written by Alberto Marini. It is a remake of a film called El Desconocido, which translates to Retribution, a film made in 2013. So they really decided that no, the only thing holding this back was just the language. We're going to do it in English. So we'll twist it up. I'll put you in the position. You go to pick up your kids from school and you have problems with you because you're a rich banker guy, right? Or a hedge fund manager. And your kids get in, everything's going great. Okay, they hate you. It's normal. Your car has these gadgets. It's a very anti-gadget film. Kids are on their phones. Your smart car, guys. I'm gonna be real with you. Sometimes I think these cars are smarter than us. You know, your tire pressure's low. How do you know? You know, all these dashboard things, all these alerts. Oh boy. Anyway, so you're going along, you're cruising. All of a sudden, you get a call. What's that? What's the stupid ringtone? It's like the row your boat. What's that sound? Oh, whose phone is that? Someone gonna pick that up? Not my phone, Dad. Not my phone, Dad. Huh?
Is this your mom's phone?
Why would we know
What?
that?
And why would it be in your car?
Well, unknown number. I'll pick it up. Hey, baker guy. This is a guy with a voice modulator on your phone. There's a bomb under your seat. If you get up out of the car, it'll blow up. You what? You put a pressure thing under you put a bomb under, you get out your phone to take a picture underneath. Sure enough, there's some sort of mechanical device under there, which you got to assume, given this phone call, it's a bomb. Well, what do you want to do? You ask the person on the other end of the line, and they're like, drive to this place I'm telling you to drive to. And you're like, I've got my kids on me. And it's like, I don't care. In fact, have your kids give you their phones and then throw them out the window. All right. And then you do that. And they're like, Dad, you're a dick. And then you have to be like, there's a guy with a bomb, guy on the phone. He put a bomb in here. God damn it.
And they're like, oh, okay.
They're like, all right, I take it back. You're cool. You're driving around as the voice commands you to do, and you see a figure in black on a motorcycle behind you. They're trailing you very close. You think this is the person on the other end of the phone. So what you do is you slam your brakes, and the motorcycle person crashes into you. But the motorcycle person is your son's girlfriend, actually.
I don't know why she was chasing you.
And your daughter screams, why did you hit her? Even though you just hit your brakes.
Yeah, she rear-ended you because she was following way too close.
Yep.
Never mentioned again. As if it never happened. It moves on. Moving on. The person telling you to drive puts you next to a car. You talk to the guy in the car because you know that guy because it's a guy who works at the banking place with you or the hedge fund place with you. And then that guy is like, yeah, I don't know, man. They said I got a bomb in my car. And there's like a girl with him. A cop comes because they see your friend fighting with the girl. The cop is like, okay, lady, get out of the car. And then she gets out of the car and then kabloom, it blows up. But your car is at the scene. So now you're the prime suspect in that car bombing. What What's this all about? Who are you? What do you want with me and my kids? Don't worry about it, dude. Just go to the next place I tell you to go, the voice says. And then you keep going to these places, which gets you further and deeper incriminated into this web. At some point, Interpol gets in, or you're in Germany, I should mention.
Europol.
Yeah, you're in Germany for some reason. Europol is on your trail now, and you're racing against them versus what the guy on the phone tells you to do. It's a stressful situation, and you're in a movie, and the movie definitely exists. It's called Retribution.
It was really funny because for a long time, though, before the guy gives him a destination, he's like, okay, what should I do?
Can you do the voice, please?
No, I can't. He's like, just keep driving. Where am I going? Just drive.
Yeah, cruise,
For like
cruise around
20
the
minutes.
block.
He's like, I see what you're doing. You're going slow. Drive faster.
Don't
Well,
go
am I
somewhere.
going somewhere?
If you go somewhere I don't like to go. Oh, I failed to mention there's a pressure thing under your thing, but also I have a remote and I could blow it up if I want to. But you being smart, you see, because from the pictures you took, that it's cell phone operated. So if you could just get to a place where...
I just need you to jam the phones.
Yeah, but why won't the Europol leader, who's a British lady, I think, why won't she help you jam the cell phones so that the guy can't blow you up? Why won't she just do that one simple thing? Great question.
I was hoping you'd answer. I don't know.
No, there's no reason. Until she does. At some point she does. And then he's able to get his kids out of the car because they realize, he's like, I've got my kids with me. Let me out. No, they have to go along with you. And then once they jam, the signals are jammed, the bomb squad looks underneath the thing. They're like, oh, wait, no, they don't have bombs. Actually, they can just go.
This movie was so doo-doo. That was the only scene I liked. I liked watching them take the car nuts out and take the doors off. That was my favorite part.
So
Wait, there's no bomb?
there's no bomb under the kid's seat,
Oh, just him?
but there is under his. And so once
But
his
I guess
kids-
if he moved, they'd all die anyway.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know the kid. Okay,
That
fair
the
enough,
kids
fair
could
enough.
get out.
Yeah. So now that he has confirmation that it's done, his kids are gone. Now he is off the leash and he can run wild around the city looking for the real person behind the voice.
And they just, the trained sniper misses him.
There's a lot of he's so, because like I said, they got under the cell phone's jammed. He's under the bridge where he drew some blood and the cops are all around him. They get the kids out. And then he just was like, all right, fuck it. I'm out.
And he's a professional stunt driver at this point.
And they just bails on like these,
Yeah.
this is a guy who's been in their mind, like running rampant throughout the city, blowing up cars and stuff.
There's an entire police force and military presence around him. And he manages, as an amateur driving, hedge fund manager?
Yeah.
To just outmaneuver them all.
He's breaks free from them. Okay, so you get to this the real one of the most perplexing,
Yes.
unnecessary scenes in the movie, and of like movies this year. There's like a street protest going on against what, for what, in just a protest, let's say. And as protests do, you have a small barrier of like a dozen cops, and they're just standing there. And the protesters just go straight to the cops and start fighting them.
Yeah, they start hurling rocks and the cops aren't doing anything.
Directly at them. And this is a protest and whatever they're protesting, who knows? Because it's apparently they're protesting those 12 cops. So the guy run to lose the cops. He goes into this protest, or maybe the guy was on the phone.
Yeah, he tells him to meet him
Okay.
there.
Yeah, because they want to meet face to face. And he's like, sure, of course I'll meet you face to face. Whatever, dude. He has there's like a slush fund. He's been putting money in. There's like 200 million euro in cryptocurrency. Don't worry, guys.
I'm glad you brought that up because there is so much bullshit in this movie where they're just like, yes, it's undetectable because it's crypto and
it's in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, or Dubai. I think.
Yeah, Dubai. There we
yeah.
go. So they got there's crypto and it's in Dubai, and this guy has the code to the account. So the bad guy needs to get the code from the guy, but he's like, oh, I'll only give it to you if we're meeting face to face. He's like, well, okay, then meet me at the protest.
Yeah.
All right, I'll
For no
go
reason.
there.
Yeah.
And then they go there, and then he gets in the car because everyone's wearing masks because they're protesters. He's wearing a mask. He's like, hey, dude, it's me. Okay, shit. Gets in the car with him, and then they drive to the most secluded street you've ever seen in your life. Just beautiful, scenic area. And then you get into like 15 minutes of dialogue of the guy
Yes.
being like, so here's who I am. I'm this guy, and you thought I was dead earlier, but I'm not. And I still need your crypto code.
No reason.
Actual line, you'd be amazed what one can do on the dark web.
Yeah, that's how he got bombs for everyone. Is he bought bombs for the cars? They'll even install it for extra money.
Yeah.
Extra crypto. It's untraceable, even though it's on the blockchain. Okay.
So he bought bombs and bought the service fee for them to install the bombs in all these cars.
3 different cars.
And everyone thinks he's dead because one of his cars blew up, but he was actually been the bad guy this whole time. So now, in a really convoluted chain of events, Liam Neeson crashes the car and
Artfully, mind you.
basically kind of like you would a skill crane, like you can nudge up right to the edge of this bridge, and then it's still pressure controlled, this bomb, and the bad guy is in the car with him with the thing. So Liam Neeson is able to jump out of the car that explodes, and he goes into the river. And now the bad guy is dead because he got blown up in the car. And the ending is a little ambiguous because the main police lady, she sees him.
Yeah. He swims to the edge or whatever, gets back on land.
I feel like there's kind of an insinuation that he's presumed dead because he was in the car, and thus he can get away with this stuff.
I didn't take it that way, but you probably could.
Yeah, because it's not him in handcuffs, by the way, or him I don't know what the trial is if you do hedge fund fraud stuff, but he's not involved in that either. He's just legit hard panda credits. And
she's nod. She nods at him, and he's like, okay, cool.
Directed by.
Yeah. Directed by Nimrod Antler. No, it's
Nimrod Antler.
Nimrod and Tall. My mistake. Anyways, that's the movie. That's the movie of the year. That's the movie that wins the Oscar this year, I think. It's called Retribution.
You really think?
It's possible. I mean,
For what? Best actor?
movie.
Best movie.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
That's what it was. It was a movie.
What you described to me, Colin?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen and everyone else, I haven't watched this movie Retribution 2023 yet. Whatever the fuck you just explained to me sounds like my kind of movie.
I mean, there's traps. He's trapped in a car.
This chapter's a voice modulator.
He has a choice.
I think I did mention Dylan when we were watching this. I said Dylan would love this because it's very Saw-ish, and yeah.
I'm not gonna. I won't hype this up too much. There isn't extreme gore or violence, or
It's not what I
you
like
don't
from
see
the Saw
anyone
movies.
getting
as
their
much.
head
He likes
blown
the
off.
psychology of this.
Yeah, is it all convoluted?
Oh, it's very.
So then, yeah, I
Again,
wanna-
if you want the that's the
And
real.
there is a big exposition at the end.
Yeah, if you want
too.
the 10 minutes of I knew you'd do that, so I made you do this, and then I did that. So then I think you think I did that, but then what really happened was I did this, and I have you on tape as saying you'll kill me because I told you to kill me, but they don't know that I told you to kill me. So the audio just says that you'll kill me, like that kind of shit. It's a foolproof plan. You thought I didn't plan on you be the one day you'd be a good father and pick up your kids. You didn't think I planned for that? I did.
Once again, any studio heads out there that have painted themselves into a corner with a property or franchise like this, have Dylan write you out of it. We've proven that he can write you out of any corner of Saw. He can write you out of. No, mind you, even though he hasn't seen it, trust me, he can fix this for you. Just let him do the second one. That's all I'm saying.
Let me just watch it.
I don't know that the problem of the movie isn't that it doesn't make sense.
It's just everything. It's just,
Yeah. It's-
weirdly boring.
yeah.
yeah, for being
Oh, it's terrible.
constantly in a car running around with a bomb under the seat. It's
Also, speed and phone booth exist. I guess they're decades ago, so we might as well try to make a crappy.
well, this whole
derivative
ass
of it.
movie exists. And it's a remake of a movie that no one saw, but
Oh God.
that's not a good sign, I don't think.
This movie sent me down a rabbit hole on Letterboxd where Regal, for every movie that they play, gives that movie 5 stars and tries to do that social media manager quippy review. You know what I mean?
Regal gives 5 stars to every movie. The
Yes,
Regal letterbox.
that they carry, on the official Regal letterbox.
Hold on, you read this. I'm gonna ask for some requests for you to find some reviews of films.
In seeing that, I started looking at the actual comments under Regal's quippy comment. And this is like a meme or something, but like there are hundreds of messages that say about the same thing from different accounts. They say, please make it so you can take Apple Pay at your Regal Theater in Crocker Park, Westlake, Ohio. That appears thousands of times on this website under all of Regal's quippy.
On the letterbox.
Any movie that they give like their 5-star quippy review to, if you just look at the comments beneath that, it's all people like saying you need to take Apple Pay at, was it Crocker Park in Westlake, Ohio?
This is a very some subreddit somewhere.
And then there's people that like have caught on to that and are trying to go against those people and say stuff like, "Please demolish Crocker Park." You know what I mean? So like, there's like this weird war that's happening in the Regal comments.
They don't do every movie.
Just every movie that they show, they give a 5-star review.
Can you look up Back on the Strip? Can you tell me the review for Back on the Strip?
Yeah.
Oh, the kid that's in it, the boy. The son who's in the car, I was like racking my brain to try to think of where I'd seen him. And spoilers for Scream 6, he's in it, and he's the boy that does it at the end.
Okay, I'll buy that.
Yeah,
he's very obedient in this one. Pretty
good son in the other one too. He's killing for family.
Oh yeah, his brother died because of that bitch.
Yeah.
Why would she do that to him? Be in a movie or something, whatever that was about.
Her dad is Stab Man, and then he was like, "I'm a big fan, but I need to kill you because you are the bloodline of Mr. Stabs."
I still say it's rude.
Ah, shit, they didn't do Back on the Strip.
Did they do Dreamin' Wild?
Ooh, I would love to see that one.
So they've only done 40 of them.
Okay, so it's not too in depth. Is this like a recent development then?
Yeah. But like, yeah, it took up a good half hour of my life where I was just like, what is happening here?
So into it.
And then they said it's all happening.
What about the Blue Beetle? Did they do Blue
Beetle?
Beetle?
They did Blue Beetle, and the Blue Beetle said
5 stars.
Yeah, they gave it 5 stars.
I want like Jay Sherman from The Critic being like the corporate guy for a movie theater where he's like really harsh on the movies. It's like unconvincing performance. Do not see for like AMC theaters.
Yeah,
just shooting these films down.
Oh, they copped out on it. They said 5 stars for George Lopez.
Yeah, that's weak.
And then for Jules, they say, "You're saying this isn't a horror movie?" And then for Last Voyage of Demeter, Boats and Foes. Quippy social media manager.
Bro, this
Foes?
sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the Boats and Hose song, but instead of hose, it's foes. But there's one foe, which is
yeah,
Dracula.
that's what I'm saying. What's foes? Why is it plural?
Bro, I someone has like dental insurance because they're doing this shit, right?
For Talk to Me, they put, "Well, this got out of hand."
Stop it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Who's
no.
talking? Oh, the hand.
Yeah, this is. I want you. You need to be on writer's strike. You need to go on strike.
I
Oppenheimer.
think that's what's happening.
And nobody told him to stop Oppenheimer. Oh God, this is bad stuff.
All right,
I think Nolan wrote that one.
Retribution. Are we putting a stop to this, or is it the bomb? I'm definitely gonna say put a stop to this movie. It's really bad. It's really boring. It's impressively bad. It's kind of surprisingly bad. I don't know why. That's my biggest beef. I don't when a movie is like does something stylistically I don't vibe with. All right, whatever. It was a choice you made, or like they adapt something in a weird way or whatever. But like movies like this are the biggest head scratch. Who's it for? Why does it exist? I don't believe that anyone's stoked on this. I'm just generally confused. Pretty head scratching. Why this movie exists kind of movie. So yeah, I'll pump the brakes on this one.
Yeah. It's a weird movie because it doesn't seem like it's for anyone. And just from the title and the fact that Liam Neeson was in it, I thought it was going to be a completely different movie.
Well, yeah, you see his kids immediately, and you're like, oh, it's not going to work out well for them.
This is a bad day to be Liam Neeson's kid, let me tell you.
Damn.
But no, and then you're like, okay, is someone going to kidnap him? And then it's like,
on the bus.
yeah.
Okay.
And then it's like, oh, no, you have to stay in the car. Wait, he's the one getting retributed? What?
That's a terrible title.
Yeah.
I had that same thought watching it.
And then
You are so
like,
spot on.
You're like, wait. And they don't tell you for 80% of the movie what this is even about. He's just like,
Yeah.
whoa, what happened? And
I
you're
don't know, but
is
I'm very sorry.
Does somebody need to get retribution? Did he do something
Yeah,
wrong?
though, I mean, the movie you make, and maybe that's why they call it, it's like a swerve or something. It's like, I'm a hedge fund guy. I mismanaged someone's money. Now they're getting retribution on me. But that's not the case.
Yeah.
It's like his other hedge fund guy who's like, hey, shit's going
I
bad
just
for our
want all
fund.
the money.
Yeah, I'm going to take our money that we've been privating away and run away. And you're like, wait, so they're both equally shitty people?
Wait, yeah. What is the retribution?
I think like that is literally there to make you think that the plot that I just made up, which would be a better plot,
Yeah.
is the movie. And by a better plot, I mean like the only plot that would
plot.
make sense,
Yeah.
given like the factors that you have to work with. So yeah, it's just, I think if you're like, oh, it's called retribution, someone's getting retribution on, but oh, twist, no, it's a coworker who's a little bit better at being evil than him. They've both been putting money. They've both been stealing money from people.
Yeah, everybody's an asshole.
Good movie. I take it back. I really liked it.
I don't know who decided that we need another like Liam Neeson is. I don't know. Like, there's this thing that's been bothering me for a while. It's just like all these senior citizens that want to be action heroes or whose agents need them to be action heroes. But it does give me moments of hilarity because in all these movies, I'm talking like Harrison Ford, Tom Cruise, Liam Neeson, there's always scenes of them like kind of like falling out of things or having wind blown in their face where it shows how old they are.
Yeah.
And I would love it if somebody made a super edit of just like all these like senior citizens that, need to be portrayed as badasses, like action hero tough guys. Just show me all the scenes where like, they're falling or having wind blown in their face, like in quick succession. I will take abnormal delight in that.
I just feel like Neeson's done like big stuff, good
Oh,
stuff.
Yeah. He had that run where everybody was like all about him.
And I feel like if you can't get those kind of roles anymore, then either you do like really artsy stuff that you care about, or like just cool projects, even if it's like a shot on iPhone, film or stage acting, whatever, or you just don't do movies. Can't you just not do movies?
Think about the senior cinema stuff that we praise and celebrate. Like it's all these actors like evolving into their actual age, and what makes those movies so beautiful is like they take their experience as actors, but also their experience in life, and put it into the role, and it enriches it so much more. This is just like rote, like somebody has wronged you, beat them up. It's like, no, who cares?
Yeah, I guess it's like, see Jane Fonda in a movie like that. This is a downgrade for her. This isn't her at her peak. She's having fun with it. And like that fun is kind of translated to the screen. So it's not like you're like, oh man, Jane Fonda, she must have hit a rough patch if she's doing this. Or remember Arnold's like first couple roles when he was like getting back in the mix, and it was just like, what? You got to do this now? You were the friggin' Terminator, bro.
Yeah, adapt.
But I just feel like it's depressing to watch because it's like, I know you're better than this.
Yes.
I know you're better than this. Why put this on display for people to see? Like, just don't be in a movie. You go to see a play and Liam Neeson's in it, you're going to be stoked, right? Or like, maybe you won't be stoked, but
enough people to fill a theater would be.
Still get to act. You still get to make people happy. So if you're a pure actor, there you go. If you're up into money, don't lie to me and tell me that you're making bank off of being in these kind of roles, like just barely above made for TV movie type roles.
Yeah.
So it's not for the check, it's not for the love of the game. It's just like to be like literally active. I'm just saying, if this is what's available, just say no, thank you.
Yeah.
Because also what's available is just staying home.
Yeah, you can say no.
I feel like there's a level of having to stay active in things, because I would like to see him cast in something like the movie that we saw with William H. Macy and Diane Keaton.
Maybe
The proposal one? Emma Roberts?
Maybe I do.
Yeah, maybe I do.
You're right.
Yeah.
And something like a Maybe I Do. He can be a funny person. Like,
Exactly.
I like him. And obviously he's a great actor, but he's not being used, in roles that can really show that.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like if he didn't do these, nobody would talk about him at all. And he wouldn't kind of be in the running for movies like that.
I mean, we're talking about him, but that doesn't mean people are talking about him.
I mean, obviously, we're also not like filmmakers who have that, who can make
Right.
that call. But, if you're kind of thinking about casting something and you're like, oh, Liam Neeson, he's still doing stuff, like maybe he can be in it. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, it's probably part of the calculation for people to be like, I gotta still be in a movie every now and then.
When was that guy in a movie last? Oh, he was in 2 last year. Oh,
Yeah,
really?
Exactly.
How did they do? Don't look it up. Don't look it up. Don't look into it.
He was in them.
He was active. He was there. Leading roles. So, wait a second. Dylan, you didn't watch this movie. What did you think of it?
So I want to watch it.
Okay. So, The Beasts. This is a very limited run. You know what I found, though, and this has made me really happy. This movie had, not to get straight into the numbers here, but I'm going to get straight into the numbers. Apparently a $3.9 million budget, and it grossed worldwide $10.2 million. So this movie made some money, which is, in America, $20,000.
It came out last year, right? Like worldwide?
I think it might be one of those film festival things.
Yeah,
like it won some film festivals. I never know if it just means like it was just released in the festival and then secured some distribution rights or what it means. But either way, by my estimate, thankfully, because I really like this movie. No one's talking about it in America, but I guess elsewhere in the world, thankfully, this did have some legs. It's called The Beasts over here, but its original title was Asbestas, because it is a Spanish film, or more accurately, Galician, in is a small region in Spain where they speak a different kind of dialect. And the movie follows this French couple, Olga and Antoine. Denis. Antoine is played by Denis Ménochet, and Olga, his wife, is played by Marina Foy. I did okay there, right?
I am not reading them, but I'm assuming.
So those two, they go to this insanely gorgeous like countryside in this rural town, and they're organic farmers. They're making tomatoes, things you grow, right? And are on like a small plot of land. And the movie, it sort of starts as they're already embroiled in this kind of tension. Like there's just immediately tension as you're watching it. And the more you watch it, the more you kind of get the backstory on the tension. This is a thriller kind of movie. And the point of contention, as you find out slowly and artfully as the film goes on, is that there's this Norwegian company that wants to build windmills on the countryside. And basically everyone needs to be in agreement that it's okay to build windmills. And the people who don't want to build windmills are a small minority, but they're still holding out. And everyone else kind of wants to sell their land and get the fuck out of there because they're sick of being, countryside farmers. But, this whole world is engrossing and charming to these expatriate Frenchies. So basically, their neighbors who want the plot of land sold and want them to go along with the vote are kind of low-key terrorizing them.
They're harassing them.
Verbal barbs, and it gets amped up to like
vandalism,
pranks, fucking with their crops.
And then it gets into messing with the money and then the land. And
this kind of slowly escalates, and it leads to eventually the guy gets murdered by these two brothers, Jean, played by Luis Sahara, and Lorenzo, his brother, played by Diego Anito. And those two are the ones that kill the main guy. And then the story shifts to his wife, who has to kind of decide to continue living on this land, now even in more danger, or if she wants to just pack up and go home. She decides to kind of hold her ground. Her daughter comes in and is like, "You're fucking crazy. You got to get out of here."
But she also doesn't want to leave because she doesn't know that he's dead. I mean, officially.
Right. He's missing.
Yeah, they can't find a body or anything, and nobody knows what happened to him. So she is still there, living by herself and farming, and every day going out and looking, like, very deliberately, like making a map and a grid and stuff, and looking for any signs of her husband.
So the other thing, and you get this kind of you walk into the middle of this, but you figure out that the husband guy, he has this long history of filming these two brothers who have been terrorizing him, because he's working with the cops. He's like, "Hey, arrest these guys." And they're like, "We don't have anything." And it is kind of complicated because they're not being super blatant about what they're doing to like get them caught. So he keeps trying to film them in a sneaky way, saying or doing threatening things, but it doesn't quite work out on his end, the filming, So this camera and the footage essentially when he's getting murdered, you see him getting them on tape. And so you, the viewer, you're like, oh, well, once this lady finds the camera, then these guys are going down. So that's like the bones of the film. But what makes it work is the way it's shot, like the insane glorifying shots they do of the countryside that just make it look this beautiful place that you want to live in. So you, the outsider, are kind of given these French people's view, which is like, wow, I can totally understand why they would fall in love with this area. And also the bad guy in this instance, it's a kind of a gray area. It's this Norwegian company that wants to install windmills. And you're like, windmills, wind power, that's a good thing, right? But it's kind of in a complicated way. It's not really beneficial to them. And this guy, this French guy, he kind of understands why it's not. And he's like, yeah, these guys just don't want to build this shit in their country, so they're going to mess up your land. And then all the farmer people are like, you don't understand. We grew up like this. We hate it here. Yeah. We want so desperately to like go to a city where there's women and where there's cars. We want to have a life. You got to have a life. You got to live as a professor in France. This money that we would get from this buyout that they're giving us would let us get in this place. And he's like, yeah, but it's not that simple. So there's this like all these shades of gray and like, I don't know, ways that they kind of make you see everyone's side in the story where it's like, God damn, it's the villains in this movie, which are obviously going to be the guys that kill the guy, right? They convince you so well of this impasse that they're at where it's like, yeah, I guess this is kind of the only way out is for this guy to die. And you understand their motivations and you understand this lady's position and just everyone's reason and rationale for being involved is like very clear. And the way they ramp the tension up, no one's, twirling their mustaches. It's not like a Cape Fear thing where it's like, why can't I be up in your grill? I just kind of, whatever corny thing that someone who's antagonizing someone does. Like it's all super subtle. And I don't know, it's something you just kind of sit back and marvel at while it's going on. I was like really impressed by this movie. I liked it a lot. It's I think it's the best score of the year because it's all this very like, strings and stuff, kind of like a Hitchcock kind of thing. And best costumes, because these, listen, if you're still on your Gorpcore shit, like I know it was maybe a little last year, a little late 2022 that we were going for that. If you have any inclination to see some great like windbreakers and galoshes and overalls and that sort of thing, this is the movie for you. Like you mentioned Empire of Light earlier. Like you watch that and you're just like, God damn, these guys are dressed well. I'm watching this movie and I'm like, God damn, these guys are dressed well. Like everyone looks like is put together excellently. I don't know how else I'll put this in here too. Like the physicality of the lead, this is a big guy, right? But he's like just constantly hiking, doing this kind of strenuous farm labor. I don't know. There's something like kind of visceral about seeing him like that. Usually big guys in movies are just, played for comedy or, I can't do this, but it's like nothing about the role required him to be a big guy, I guess. There wasn't like a point where like, oh, they had to all make fun of him or he couldn't get out of a tube because he was too big or something like that. Like, no, he's physically imposing, but not in the way that like a big old buff guy would be. I don't know. It's just another kind of method they use to kind of make the movie grounded, I guess.
Yeah, it definitely works because of decisions like that. Or I don't know how the guy really looks or anything, but to not change him, I guess, if that's really how he looked. But all this stuff that grounds the movie really makes you feel scared, like for like the position that they're in. I can't imagine. You're out there in the middle of nowhere. The cops can't do anything. And there's these two crazy people terrorizing you. And there's nothing you could do about it. There's scenes where the brothers get drunk and like mess with them. And they're just like, please just let us go, trying to be calm about it. But there's not really anything in your power, like you just have to go with whatever is happening and hope for the best.
And you are a foreigner, so it's not like you are on their turf. So it's not like if, let's just say you kill them or something, like you're going to have any rights really in court.
Yeah. And from the community, even, they are outsiders. It does a really good job of like, yeah, you understand everybody's motivations. Everything kind of makes sense. You know why these people want what they want. It's complicated. Just normal life. It's complicated and it's so fragile, like in these times where he's afraid somebody's going to do something to him or to him and his wife, and you don't know what's going to happen. And even it having to do with just planting things, and they show them on their knees, like gardening,
Right.
raising a crop or whatever, tending to their crops and stuff. There's dirt. They're digging these trenches, they're sweating a whole bunch. It's very, visceral.
Tactile.
Yeah, there we go. That's the most amazing thing that I think about this movie. There's not very many instances where you see a movie and you're like, you can like feel that movie.
Right.
know?
Yeah. At one point, the bad guys, if you will, they poison their crops, and you see them squishing these rotten tomatoes, and you're like,
Yeah.
they fucking poisoned our well. And he's just, they're really focusing on this like mushy tomato.
Yeah.
And it's like
the lady cuts into it and she's like, hey, come here and look. And he's just ripping them apart with his hands. Like, this one's messed up. This one's messed up, until they find out,
you can
what
feel the
happened to 'em.
texture of it. It's just really impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not streaming anywhere. It's not in theaters. You're kind of boned if you want to watch this movie. If you can, though, obviously, we're highly recommending it. One of the best movies I've seen this year. Crazy enough to say. And the phrase thriller, as Dylan pointed out earlier, it is thrown around a lot. Where the thrilling clock is ticking, and this is a thriller.
And clock is ticking.
But it's a thriller movie that isn't an action movie, and it isn't a horror movie. This is like
Suspense?
Sure, but what's a suspense movie? There's I don't know. It's almost a misnomer, the thriller. It's really hard to pin down, because I think generally speaking they lead one or the other. But this is a true thriller without crossing into other genres, and it's really impressive how they can kind of convey that danger and tension in the air.
You want to talk about the funny thing about the camera?
Okay, so you see, the two guys, this guy's filming everything. They make a big deal about him filming. This camera captures him getting murdered by the two guys. He plants the camera down about the time when they chase him into the woods. He knows he's going to get it. He's like, okay, at least this will film it, right? Because the lady takes so long to find, and she's combing this whole countryside. That's what she's saying about the fragility of all this and how alone you are. It's like, if you fucking die and you're just in the countryside, and they show her combing it, and it's like, they're like, oh, she's going to find it because this is the place where he died. No, it all looks the same. It's all goddamn countryside.
And it's like months
Yes.
every day.
So you see, like, it's raining, it's snowing, it's sunny, so on and so forth. And eventually she finds the camera, and you're like, here we go. Busted. SIM card doesn't work. I'm going to take this to the
Forensic.
the police. They're going to look into this because my husband's dead, and they know about it. And I've been, working with them to find the guy. Okay, we're going to have our experts look at this. We'll get it done. They can't do it. This is shot because it's been snowed on and rained on and all this.
For like a year.
On one hand, it's like, not how you would write a movie like this. You would have it, she would see the camera, she would pick it up, she would press play, and then credits, But no, it doesn't work. Yeah. This thing that you, the viewer, this, but she doesn't, no one knows what's on this tape, and no one can see it. They don't show it. But, obviously the fact that they find the camera, this kind of leads them to being able to find the body, which leads to them being able to bust these two brothers, these neighbor pricks, right? And this is one of the hardest fucking lines I've seen delivered in almost any movie this year. She goes up to their house, right? And they kind of block her with like, hey, what are you doing? She's like, I need to talk to your mom. And they're like, no, you talk to us if you want to talk to her. She's like, I need to talk to your mom. Let me talk to your mom. And they're like, okay, fine. She goes and sits down and talks to the mom, and she's like, your kids are going to get sent to jail because they murdered my husband. She's like, no. She's like, no. Your kids are going to go sent to jail because they murdered my husband. So you're going to be alone. And I'm alone. So we're all we have. So if you need anything, I'm right over there. And then she just leaves. And it's like the most stone cold delivery of a line like that, because it's just one lady to another, to like a really elderly woman, and it's like, damn, that is fucking stone cold. There's no yelling, there's no screaming. It's just, in the full context of the film, it's just one of the toughest lines I've ever seen. So I'm talking this movie up a lot because I think everyone should see it. I suspect, and I have nothing to base this on but my gut, is that this is going to be a movie that gets like remade, or just as like it's Americanized,
they do
like
with
Retribution, bro.
Yeah, and it's going to be fucking atrocious.
Yeah.
Let's say another charm of the movie. It's a subtitle movie. It's in a different language, but like they're French and they're in this place that speaks
2 different languages.
Galician. Yeah, the dialect of Spanish, and there's people who speak Spanish.
They speak French.
So yeah, you're watching French people speaking Spanish. Knowing the language. Like it's. I'm glad there were subtitles the whole time. But it's interesting to see a foreign movie where even if you were a native speaker of any one of those languages, you would still need subtitles. So everyone's kind of on equal footing with this movie. Mm-hmm. But
based on a true story.
Yes.
Oh shit, for real?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a tournament of Gran Turismo, and the best players
got
to do some organic farming.
They did a farming sim.
And that's why their neighbors were so pissed off. They're like, no sim farmers.
Yeah.
Shut down the sim farmers. And they're like, we have a right to be in this farm as much as you. And then they had the competition, and like they couldn't drink champagne, and they were French. So that really stung for them.
They can only drink beer, dude.
Yeah.
You don't know about this?
Until
they won.
They got to place on the podium, and then boom, they get to drink champagne, and that's how the movie ends.
Beasts. Based on a true story.
Dylan, what are we watching next week?
Unlimited.
Hey everybody, thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Regal Movie Masters Unlimited. You got 9 seconds to catch up on the Equalizer movies to be able to watch Equalizer 3. That's right, Denzel Washington is back as Robert McCall, and he's about to be equalizing again. We got The Hill, true life story of Ricky Hill's journey to play Major League Baseball. Then we got The Good Mother, featuring Hilary Swank, and I hope she's a good mother, hopefully. Then we got a movie that I'm actually really excited for, Bottoms. I don't know exactly what it's about, but it looks really funny, and I can't wait to watch it. See you at the movies next week. Bye.